Well, good morning, beautiful, and welcome to a little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus, where we're going to be spending about the next 45 minutes together, enjoying some beauty on the outside and some beauty on the inside. We are going to be doing a full face makeup tutorial, and then we're going to be continuing on in our memorization of the book of James. So if you are just joining us now, don't even worry about it. You are going to, well, let me see if I can get this turned down. That is very peculiar. There we go. All right. So if you are new joining us, don't even worry about being behind. Just jump in right where you are. All the episodes are online, though, if you want to jump back and catch up. This week, we are going to be on James. I think we're on 13 to 15. So a little bit into a hunk of that chapter 1. So excited for you. So let's see. What has happened in my world this past week? It has been amazing. I hope you have had a great week as well. So today, our easy makeup theme is going to actually be the answer to a question. So the question is, will green shimmer eye brighten my over 40, or will it age me? So let's see what we got going on. So get ready. Okay, yeah, I know, I see you. I am so excited to have you here with us too. Okay, if I can get over to the intro. There we go. A little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus. Can't wait. All right, so I forgot to say to grab your lashes and your brushes and your eye palette and then get back here. So you have just a second to get that done. Today we're going to be using the Juvia's Place Culture 2 palette. So use whatever palette you have, but today we are definitely going to be playing with some green and some shimmer. So our foundation verse for this podcast is Psalm 119 verse 11. I have hidden your word in my heart that I might not sin against you. And then all of the scripture verses that we're going to be doing and some of the things that you'll hear us reference are all going to be coming from Color Me James. And this is, I'm actually getting ready to launch the coloring book for this. Still got a little bit to tweak on that. But this is a 48-week study, Bible memorization through the book of James. So we are beginning week 6 this week. So jump in where you are. Don't even worry about it. You can go to the back. Everything is online. So if you are just joining with us, you can go back to James chapter 1, which is the beginning of season 3, and just jump in there with us. This is available in a spiral bound, which is my preferred version of this. Or you can do a perfect bound from Amazon, and then also on the website, a little bit of makeup and whole lot of Jesus.com, you can find the ebook. So if you prefer to use apps like Procreate to color, knock yourself out. I think it's called Goodreads will actually let you write into the book. So that's the least expensive way to go. So you choose your pleasure on that one. Okay, so let's look at our verse and song from last week. And I hope you enjoyed this. This was some kind of a little bit of funk for me. I loved it. Here we go. Oh, just kidding. Here we go. Well, there we go.
She's been through some things, storms that didn't just pass, they pushed. She held her breath when life got loud, when prayers felt heavy and answers felt far. But she didn't bow out, she stayed, held her line in the valley. Didn't need applause to be powerful, she's got prayerful courage.
Anyone who meets the testing challenge head on and manages to stick it out is mighty fortunate. For such persons loyally in love with God, the reward is life and more life.
She's walked through fire and Sunday.
Okay, so for whatever reason, one of my presets wasn't working this morning. So I hope you were able to hear that. If not, I'm still waiting for the release of that on from our music distribution. So that should be on Apple Music and all the places, including our playlist shortly. Okay, let me go ahead and get our regular music back on here as the background, and then let's look at what our verse for this week is going to be. And now I sound very, very quiet. I'm hoping to you all this is sounding normal. Okay, so our verse for this week, we're going to be in James chapter 1, and we are going to be in verses 13 through 15. So here's what we've got for this week. Don't let hold on. I'm in the way of the verse. Okay, don't let anyone under pressure. Hold on. Don't let anyone under pressure to give in to evil say, God is impervious to evil and puts evil in no one's way. The temptation to give in to evil comes from us and only us. We have no one to blame but the leering, seducing flare-up of our own lust. Lust, getting pregnant. This is very hard to read. Seducing flare-up of our own lust. Lust gets pregnant and has a baby. Sin grows up to adulthood and becomes a real killer. Wow, this week's section is going to be just a little bit interesting for us. Okay, loud and clear. Awesome. Thank you so much. And you know, I see you on here all the time, but I never call you by name because I don't know if it's Andrea or Andrea. So yay for letting us be able to hear. I'm so glad for that. Thank you for letting me know that. So go ahead and give me a shout out where you're coming from, because we did not do that yet. Now, all the products that we are going to be using today, like I said, we're going to be playing with the Juvia's Place Culture 2 palette again. And so if you already have that palette, fantastic. If not, grab whatever you palette that has whatever colors you want to use. Today, we're going to be using a few variations of green. I don't normally wear green, but I thought it was kind of fun for today. So that's what we're going to be doing. Now, if you are in the Beauty and Grace Insiders, you knew this was coming because they get insight as to what looks are coming up. Okay, we're going to see if it will transition. Yay! Okay. One thing has worked correctly today. Okay, so I didn't say this, I don't think, but all the products are on a little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus.com/YouTube. Use whatever you want. My thing and one of the premise to this is what you have is going to work great. Well, I guess that's unless it's yucky. But anyways, so that's got the links to everything. It's on Amazon. If you don't like something, you're able to return it. So, you know, safety there. So that is my thing and commitment to you is let's have it be something that, you know, if it just totally doesn't work, you just totally don't like it, the product is an underperformer, whatever. Places like Ulta where you can actually return the product, that is where I'm going to direct you to so that you can make the most out of your money. The object here is not to have a makeup room full of makeups and a drawer full of palettes, although I kind of have that. It is to make use of what you have and to look the best that you possibly can while working on the inside, the heart, the soul. Okay, so onward with what we're doing today. So today we're answering the question of, can I have a shimmery green at my age and will it make me look old or not? So we're going to play with it. Let's have some fun. Here we go. So Professional Matte Primer from Benefit Cosmetics. And we are going to be continuing on with that. I am going to, there we go. We're just going to work that between the tips of the fingers. Any place that you have fine lines and wrinkles, around the lips for sure. Maybe you get separation in your makeup. Whether you have dry skin, oily skin, this does not matter. So we're just going to put that there. It will help our foundation to do its job more effectively. That's always a great thing. There you go. We're just going to work that in all over. And then we're going to cap it because it is a little, a little on the thin side. We don't want to drip in out. So we're just going to cap that there. Now that we are prepped and primed and ready to go, we are going to grab our Bye Bye Under Eye from It Cosmetics. And we're just going to use a little ribbon of that. That is enough to do everything you need. So we're going to work that under the eye or wherever you have any darkness, redness, hyperpigmentation. For me, that's going to be under the eye. We got some dark stuff happening. I got some dark on the inside there. We are using some pretty good colors today, so I'm just going to bring that over onto the lid a little bit. a little redness. We'll blend that out onto the top of the cheek. And I have minimal amount of redness, so just the concealer will be enough. I don't need to use a red, a green to counteract that. So if you have more red than what I do, maybe you got a little rosacea or something, a green primer or a green concealer is going to help to kind of counteract that. If you've got super darkness in here, then you're going to head more towards orange for a little bit and super fair skin, and more towards red if you've got darker skin, more pigment in your skin, and if it is like super dark. So you see people who have like tattoos and they're trying to do tattoos cover up, they're going to be using a dark red cover up. Okay, so I am grabbing my Juvia's Place. This is the JP 102, and we're just going to blend that out. We're going to make sure we go over that lid, let that do its job as a primer. Blend that out onto the top of the cheek so I can get rid of that redness. There we go. Down the nose, because for whatever reason, I got a red nose too. It also acts as a good highlighter too. So I don't know. I just like running it down the center of the nose. I feel like it gives a good look in the end. So now we've kind of evened everything out. I mean, it looks like a crazy person right now, but we'll fix it. So I'm going to be using the Lancome Tinty Doll. I am the shade 225N. I am wearing glasses today, and I like the way that this does, you know, right here on the insides. Okay, so we're going to take our JP 102. We're just going to give us a pump kind of like right there on that green section. And then we're just going to blotch it out and then blend it out. I hope you all had a good week this week. I know I didn't do as good a job on the verse as I had hoped. I think the song did help with it, but now it's hard to do it without singing it. I like the story of it. I think so far, this week's is probably going to be the more difficult for me. I don't know. It just doesn't, I just don't feel like it flows. And maybe that could be that maybe this is the section of verses that I have the most to learn from. You know, sometimes Satan puts things in your way just to make it more difficult so you don't get out of it what you should. So we'll see how that goes. Especially because it's talking about sin. No one ever likes to talk about that. Okay, so now we're going to give just a partial pump. And we're going to get that right on there. And then we're going to do the forehead. My hair is going like a crazy person. It's getting a little on the long side. And so it is time for a haircut. And I just haven't made it. And I don't think we have any rain coming. But I don't know. I feel like it's humid in the air. You know, in Texas, you just never know what you're going to get. Okay. So then we're just going to dab, make sure that we don't have any lines from our blending out onto the neck so that we don't have a finish line. All right. Give a close look, make sure everything's good. Yep. And so now we have our foundation. We are all one color, but now we're going to set that bad boy. So I'm going to be using, this is the JP 101. This is a tapered powder brush, and then we're going to be using the Benefit Cosmetics Professional Power Powder. That is your tongue twister for today. Benefit Cosmetics Power Powder. Okay, enough of that. So, we're just going to set it in there, and then we're going to tap it off. I'm going to start out under the eye. And we put that primer on there, so we're just going to set that. Coming up under so that we can make sure our concealer does not do any of that, you know, settling into fine lines and wrinkles. And this will also help blurring with the fine lines and wrinkles. So again, put it in, tap it off down the center. And don't forget to set under your chin. Same thing, set it in, tap it off. this truly is. Like I said, I can't wait till they come out with a truly, what's the word I'm looking for? Not neutral, translucent. There you go. Because this one does have just a little bit of color to it. So for everybody that is me and darker, you'll be fine. But if you are more fair than I am, then you may have a little bit of, it may be too much. So you'll have to try it and see. So I believe this is an Ulta exclusive. So you can get to Ulta and try it out in the store before you put any money on it. And then even at that, if you, like let's say you order it and have it delivered, there's still a return policy in place that would allow you to return it. So one way or the other, you're covered. Amazon, although I can't remember if I saw that on Amazon or not. That may be a link directly to them. So, okay. Now we got all that done. We have an even color to work with. Now we're going to add our contouring, our highlighting, and our bronzing back in exactly where we want it. So I'm going to use 2 brushes to accomplish that. The first one we're going to be playing with is a dual-ended, actually foundation brush. We're going to use this end for the bronzer, the low, and we're going to use this end for the highlighter, the light, the high. I'm going to be using the KBD. This is the shade Light Refillable Powder. Light Reflecting, I think it is refillable powder. I'm going to be living over here on this end, and then we're going to take this just a smidge, just on the outside corner at the very end. So I'm going to take the flat side of this. We're just going to do that. Going to turn it from here to about the corner of the eye. We're going to stay above the hollow of the cheek. And you're just kind of go a little bit in a U. And then we're going to work it right up here beside that hairline on the temple. Same thing on the other side. And then we're going to stay with that flat side. We're going to go right up on the forehead against that hairline. We're going to go side to side, but then up and down so that we don't give, like, we don't want a line up there. We just want to give a little bit of a shadow, reduce that forehead. Now, if you've got a very low hairline, you can maybe skip this step, although I just really like the way that just sort of brings the face together. We're going to use the skinny side of this now. We're going to go here. We're going to go from the ear to about the corner of the mouth under the jawline. So keep a neutral face so that you're truly getting up under that jawline. Same thing on the other side. This is going to help to frame the face and reduce any extra chin or chins that you have down there. Staying with that skinny side, we're going to go from the corner of the eye all the way to the tip of the nose. And one swipe will probably do you on this one. I don't think you need to redip. And we're going to go just under the tip of that nose. Now, I told you we were going to use that darker one. So we're going to take this one. We're going to use just the point of that. Just kind of tap it in there a little. And right here on the outside, we're just going to bring in a little dimension. Just right on that outside. Now we're going to switch to the fluffy. And we're going to go into the lighter one. We're going to ride down the center of the face with that. Try to stay in the right color. And then I'm just going to make sure I didn't overshoot there. There we go. Okay. So now you have your contouring, and I just dropped my brush, but I guess I shall worry about that in a second, as I don't know exactly where it went. So we are using the Juvia's Place. This is a blushed volume 4. And for today, I'm going to be in this one right here. Very pigmented. So we're literally just going to go like that. That's all you need. Going between the blush and the bronzer, between the brush and the blender. And you know what I just realized? I did not highlight the top of my cheek. So let's go ahead and continue with this. I dropped my brush and got all confused. One tap, we'll do the forehead, the nose, and the chin. We don't want like a whole lot of color there. We just need a little bit just to kind of set that off. Now let me see if I can roll back here. There it is. Ta-da! So again, since I accidentally skipped it, we're going to use this side. We're going to go on to this one here. It's going to go the top of the cheek and right beside the eye socket. There we go. All right, so now we've got a little bit of color. We have got some shape to our face now. And now we are going to say our verse together. If I can get that in. There we go. Okay, so it is rolling across your screen. We are going to wait until it comes all the way back. We are almost to the end now. Let me see. Okay, there's the end of the reference. So here we go. We're going to wait till it gets to the middle. Here we go. Don't let anyone under pressure to give in to evil say, God is trying to trip me up. God is impervious to evil and puts evil in no one's way. The temptation to give in to evil comes from us and only us. We have no one else to blame, or no one to blame but the leering, seducing flare up of our own lust. Lust gets pregnant and has a baby, sin. Sin grows up to adulthood and becomes a real killer. James 1, 13-15. You know, when you say it with the inflections in the right place, it makes a whole lot more sense. Maybe it will flow nicely. Okay, so I am going to be, maybe I should tell you what I'm doing now. So I am using the Juvia's Place. This is the Luxe Liner. This is in the shade Wine. And we're just gonna, I love that this is a retractable. You don't lose product to sharpening. These blend out nicely. They're a good creamy in a good way. And they also stay put. They don't creep out into any fine lines and wrinkles. So if you got a wrinkly lip, this is gonna be your friend. So we're gonna start out here in the center in the Cupid's bow. Just going to give you a nice V, and then we're going to round out to the outside corners. We're going to be just to the outside of that lip line to catch a little extra real estate. Same thing on the other side. All right, now we're going to work out from the center and the bottom and do the same thing to the outside corners. All right, give a step back. Make sure you like the shape you just created. Even on both sides. Yeah. Okay, so today, because we're going to have a lot going on with the green on the eyes, I want a little more of a neutral kind of lip today. So I'm going to come to just the inside of that line with a little bit lighter pressure, and then we're going to drag that with our middle finger. So first, you're just feathering it a little bit. Okay, now we're going to take our middle finger and we're just going to drag that. And that's just going to give us a nice, smooth, soft outline that will help our lipstick to wear better but stay put. And just kind of put a frame on that. So I am going to be using this is the Maximal Matte Lipstick from MAC, and this is Snob. I remember when this came out, man, it was hard to get hold of. I had to like practically reserve one to get it because it was so popular. Love this color. It's like pink, but it's not like, wah, pink. So yeah, that's the technical word. Wah, pink. Okay, so we're going to start out in the center. We're going to do the top and the bottom, and then we're going to do the outside. So there's the center. Now we're going to go from the center to the outside. And yes, great question. You are actually going over the liner that you just did. We want just like a little hint of that. Okay. So now we got our lips going on. We are going to play with our eyes. So at the sound of that, my eyes started watering. Okay, so we're going to be playing with the Culture 2 palette. And this is where we're going to be today. So up on the brow bone, we're going to start out with that palm candle because that's just a nice neutral color. If you have darker pigmentation, move to a darker color. You could maybe use Yoruba or Soy right there. Something close to your skin color so that you have something to blend in. So palm candle is going to go first. And then we're going to move to the Fufu. I don't know why. That just cracks me up. Okay, so we're going to move to Fufu. Those are going to be on the outside corners. Then we're going to give a little batik. That's going to go in the middle. And then in the very center, after we're done with all that, we're going to use the Joss right here. And that's going to be just with our finger. We'll do that. So we're going to start out by grabbing just a fluffy brush. This is a Morphe M433. We're going to go in that palm kennel right there. And we're just going to put that right up here on that brow bone. This is just something to blend into, just kind of a placeholder. We don't really need like a lot of color there. We just need something. And this will just give us something to blend into. All right. Now that we got that, we're going to, let's go with, let's do this one here. I'm going to use a Morphe M321. This is more of just a blender smudger crease brush. So we're going to go into that Fufu. Now, this is a very pigmented color. So you only need to like tap a little bit. We're just going to do the inside outside corner, just so that when we put the batik in there, it gives us like a nice dark color on the outside. So literally just kind of swirl just a tiny bit. So we're going to go into that Fufu right there. We're going to get that on the outside corner. And this does not need to be pretty right here. And then we're going to get it on that inside corner. And you're just going like maybe a quarter. And this is just to intensify the color as we put the other ones on. You want to actually see this per se. It's just giving us a nice base. Okay, so you can see we've got that dark on the outside corners of both of those. So we're going to set that brush aside. And we're going to grab just a overall shadow brush. This one is a MAC, I don't know, maybe 200, 280, 290, something like that. Just a normal eyeshadow brush. We're going to go into the batik. This you can get on the front side and the back side. And we're just going to cover over let's actually just cover over this. We're going to cover it and then we're going to go just a little bit further. So we're going to leave an empty space in the middle. With this, we want to make sure that we're working up onto that eye socket bone right here. And then same thing on the other side. And again, we're just leaving that channel right through the middle empty. Now, before we move to the other side, you want to make sure, especially if you have hooded eyes, that when you're looking forward, you can see that green peeking over the fold of your eyelid. So for me, I need to come up just a little bit more. And I know if you've been hanging with me, you know I always underestimate that. Every time. So we're just going to blend that up. And make sure if you're like me that you don't actually go into the motherland, because that's like a bright green. Okay. So we're just covering that up. We're going to look forward. We're going to see that green peeking over the top. Now look at the difference between those two eyes. See what a difference it makes when you get that color peeking up over the top there? Okay, so now we're going to do that same thing. Batik is going to go over here on the inside. Going up. And then on the outside. Okay, we're going to make sure that we get that all the way up. I don't know if you can hear that, but my dog is snoring to goodness sakes over here. Yeah. Yeah, she's a senior and she just snores really loud. Okay, so if you have any fallout from that, go ahead and dust that off. Now we are going to use just our finger, and actually middle finger. We're going to go into that joss right here. And you're just going to get some of that right there. And we're going to put that right in the middle. We're just going to fill that in with that beautiful goodness. Right there in the middle. I'm going to take, wow, that is so pretty. Okay, I'm going to go into that batik just a little bit. And I'm just going to blend that out a smidge. I didn't really even put any shadow on it. I'm just blending it out. And then we'll come back with that palm kennel here in just a second. Okay, so now we need to work on the under of the eye a little bit and connect all this together and have it to make sense. So I am grabbing the Morphe. This is an M508. We're gonna do exactly the same thing that we did. So we're gonna grab this right here. Just one side will do ya. This is on the foo. We're gonna get it right here on the outside corner. We're gonna connect those two. Nice. And we're going to do same. I'm not even going to switch brushes. I'm going to use that same brush. I'm going to go into the batik. I'm just going to get it on one side. We're going to go over that. And then we're going to go to about the center. There you go. Now I am going to wipe that tip off on the napkin that's sitting in my lap because I don't want that dark color to end up on the inside or you're going to like close down your eye. So we were using the Joss. Let's just do it. Okay, so I'm going to grab the Joss. I'm just going to use a little bit of that. Don't load it too much. We just need a little bit right here. It's just such a pretty green. Nice. Now I feel like we need a non-color color on the inside just to kind of open it up a little bit. So this is a MAC 194, I think. I'm just going to grab some of that Chua right here. Just one little thing. We're just going to do that right in the center. Just going to brighten that up a little bit right on the center. Okay, nice. Oh my gosh, I love that. This would have been a good one for St. Patrick's Day. We did a different green one. Okay, so now you can see what we've got is we got some shimmery. We got some iridescent going on, and let's go ahead and bring it down to earth just a smidge with our liner and lashes. So I'm grabbing the Killer liner from Too Faced. This is in Killer Black. We're going to go from the outside corner to the middle, and then outside corner to the middle. Well, if I can get it. There we go. Going to give you a little accentuating on the outside. Then we're going to take the line right on that lash line on the bottom. We're going to go from the corner to about halfway. It's like a not line. So you're giving it a little bit of color, but we don't want like a heavy black. Hey, Lakeisha! So we want to bring a little bit of balance to the outside. So we're going to use that liner on the waterline, but we're only going to go about 1/4 of the way across. We're not going to line all the way. So we're going to waterline just right here, about 1/4 of the way. And you're going to make sure that you go in that waterline from the corner all the way to the color liner that you just put down. That's going to give you a little bit more depth on the outside, but it's not going to close down the eye. Okay, so we know we're going to be using some lashes. So we want to make sure that we give a nice runway for those lashes to go. We just put a lot of shadow on there. Well, really, it's not that lot. They're just very pigmented. Anyways, so grab your Too Faced Better Than Sex liner or whatever liner you choose. I store this down, tip down, so that the tip always has the product in it. So we're just going to uncap that. We're going to do a thin line from the outside corner all the way to the inside corner. Just a nice smooth line, which is why I love this tip. This is gonna give you a little bit of forgiveness if your lashes end up a little too far north from your lash line. This will kind of be a buffer for that. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Now, even though I used green shadows today, you could do the same thing with a dark, a medium, and a light of any kind of colors. So this could be, you know, dark blue on the outside. Use you a nice lavender in the middle. Be creative. Any color combination. You just need a dark, a light, and a medium. Okay. And some shimmer. Or glitter. You could do glitter ones too. Okay, so I told you we were going to come back with the kennel. So we're going to take that same brush we were using, which is the Morphe 433, M433. You're just going to tap it once, and we're just going to make sure that we got a nice blend going on up here. So we're just going to soften that a smidge. There you go. It's not doing anything really other than just softening the edge of that just a little bit. So now we got beautiful eyes. And what is going on with our brows? I don't have any brows, so let's get our brows done. I am using the Bad Gal Bang mascara in Wild Plum because it matches my hair. But whatever your brow product of choice is, that's what you are going to use now. So I am going to just lightly brush that on here. And there are some products that are like a brow mascara, so they'll go on pretty much the same way. I'm trying to stay hovered above my skin and just catch those hairs. The great thing about a mascara is that you don't need a setter because, you know, they kind of firm up. So it does it all by itself. So you can see the difference between the two sides. Ooh, she has a brow. Ooh, where's her brow? So same thing on the other side of whatever your brow product of choice is. And again, you know I talk about this often, but if you do not know what brow product to use to get the look you want, get your appointment scheduled at the Benefit Brow Bar at Ulta. They will wax, tweeze, pluck, thread, whatever you need to have done. And then they will, bring a picture of what you want it to look like. And they will match you to the product that will get you what you want and then show you how to use it. So it's like a beautiful situation. I love going there. Do not let me find out you've been getting your brows waxed over at your nail shop. It's a nail shop. It's not a brow shop. Okay, so yes, I'm so glad you caught me live. Woo-woo! Nice to have ya. Okay, now we need some lashes, right? Because we got a lot of green happening up in here. So we're going to start out with a little bit curl. I know we're putting false lashes on, but you still need to curl your lashes. You do not want to look from the side and see like a gap between your lashes and the false lasher. That's kind of yuck. So I am going to use the Tweezer Man Onyx Great Grip Eyelash Curler. I've used the, what's that other one called? The heated one from Grande Lash. Love that one too. This one is perfectly fine for what we're doing here today. So when you crimp down on your lash curler, It should not be pinching your eyelid. If it is, release and pull it out just a smidge. This should be a no pain process. So our verse is a little bit long today. Usually we use our verse as a timer. We'll do that, but I don't think we're going to hold it all the way to the end. So get your spot ready. The verse is not rolled around yet. And then we'll put it on there. We'll say the verse and stop, but keep going with the verse. So even though we may release the curl, just keep going with the verse. Okay, here it comes. Find your spot. Crimp it. Here we go. Don't let anyone under pressure to give in to evil say. God is trying to trip me up. God is impervious to evil and puts evil in no one's way. The temptation to give in to evil comes from us and only us. We have no one to blame but the leering, seducing flare-up of our own lust. Lust gets pregnant and has a baby, sin. And sin grows up to adulthood and becomes a real killer. And that's James 1, 13 to 15. Okay, grab it on the other side. Before that gets away from us, here we go and grip. Don't let anyone under pressure to give in to evil say, God is trying to trip me up. God is impervious to evil and puts evil in no one's way. The temptation to give in to evil comes from us and only us. We have no one to blame but the leering, seducing flare-up of our own lust. Lust gets pregnant and has a baby, sin. And then sin grows up to adulthood and becomes a real killer. And that is James 1, 13 to 15. So now that we got that on there, I'm going to be using the Bad Gal Bang. If you have black lashes already, you can totally skip this step because your lashes will blend in. However, this will give you more volume. So if voluminous lash is what you like, just go ahead and do this. So we're going to cover this just with one coat. Roll back on those tips there. I'm going to make sure we go all the way from one side to the other. And although you couldn't see them, yes, I do have lashes. They're just clear. Okay, other side here. From one side to the other. And then make sure you sweep them back on the tip. Now, you know we're not going to get false lashes on the bottom. So we want to make sure when we're doing the false lashes, when we're doing the mascara on the bottom, that you do that just like normal. There's nothing going to change about the way you're applying your mascara on the bottom. So we're going to take that mascara, same thing as the top. You're going to put that on and then you're going to sweep under the tips. We want to make sure that the tips are nice and covered. We're going all the way from the base of the lash to the very tip with that mascara. We're going all the way from one side of the eye, all the way to the other side. All right, so there's one. Let's go ahead and do the other side. And hopefully you don't just touch your cheek the way I just did. And I know you know that I have been battling with road construction, so I hear them coming out front. So sorry if you can hear that. Eventually one day, they're going to get that finished. I will look forward to that because then I'll have a nice new sparkly street to drive in on. But now from one day to the next, you don't know what you're going to come home to. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take this tissue. My eye is watering because of, I don't know, whatever they're mucking up around out there. I am going to be using today. This is the Juvia's Place. You know, I used them last week. I loved them. So this is the Egypt Light Nubian Lash. So, you know, I usually like a flare. This one's not a flare, but it does have a nice unevenness in the height of the lashes. And I just love the way that that gives you such a neutral look. So I'm going to use my velour lash tool. We're just going to grab that from the outside corner and get that off the tray there. I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. Grab the outside corner, pull that off that tray there. I'm going to set that box aside. I do always store mine in the box because then, number one, you can't lose one. Number two, it keeps them from getting kind of any hair or debris. And number three, I have 2 cats. And if the cats find it, you are never going to find it. So if you're one of those just, set it on the coffee mug or something kind of people, more power to you. But but I like to keep them in the tray. Okay, so I've previously trimmed these. We did that together last week. So you're going to trim from the outside edge, kind of do a dry fit, check the outside, and almost everybody needs to trim a little bit of lash off. I am using the Allure 18-hour eyelash glue. And we're just going to get it on that top of that band there. And then we're going to get it on the back side of that band. This one does have a little bit of a band. I like the black band though. Another reason why we don't need to worry too much about an eyeliner, because this band pretty much already has that for you. So we're going to grab the other one right there in that center. We're going to get that on that top of that band, right along that line. And then we're going to do it again on the back side. Okay, that might have been a little bit much. Well, these won't move today. You're going to want to make sure that you pay special attention to the outside corners, because those are going to be the most likely areas to kind of give you a little bit of lift. Now, here's a little tip for you. If you find that when you put your lashes on, you're getting like poking on the inside or the outside, it can mean one of a couple things. First thing is your lashes are probably too long and you need to trim them from the outside edge just a little bit. Second thing it could mean is that you got a little lift going on. So I always keep an eyelash adhesive in my bag because you just never know when that's going to happen. So there's just a little bit of tip for that. So I am going to grab that first lash that I put the adhesive on, and if I can get it, there we go. Going to grab it there in the center. You'll know when it's ready because the adhesive is going to go from that like bright white it was, and it's going to turn a little bit clear. If you need to kind of speed it along, you can just sort of fan it. So I am going to take that one. Let's see, that was on that side, so that's this eye. And we're going to put it right there in the middle. Right where your lash meets your eyelid. And then we're going to walk it around on the inside. You are putting it straight on top of that eyeliner line that you made. We're going to grab the outside corner and we're going to put that on the line as well. Now I want to make sure that my lashes are as close to my natural lashes as possible. So I'm just going to take this little tool and to this side of the lash, I am just going to kind of smush them together. And then I'm going to take the tip and make sure that my lashes are worked in with that lash. Now I see the inside of this one's being a little ornery. It's doing last week too. The more that you wear the lash, many more times that you wear it, the more that it's going to form to the shape of your eye, and the less kind of difficult it'll be when you put it on. So more times of wearing it is better because then it gets your shape. You are going to feel a little bit of cold when you first put that lash on. That's pretty normal. And then sometimes though it can mean that you didn't let that glue set quite enough before you put it on. So now you can see the difference that the lash makes. Really kind of tones down that green a little bit and opens up the eye. And these are a medium volume. So, you know, I don't know that I've ever seen anybody walk around with this big of a lash, but it's not like, oh my gosh, what she got? Okay, so we're going to set this one over here. Right there in the middle. There we go. Having difficulty letting go. There we go. And then we're going to put that right there on the inside. Going to grab the outside corner. Set that down right there. Then we're going to push these two together using that lash tool. Just making sure they're in the same space. Set that inside corner down again. Using the tip of that to work my lashes into it. I feel like this side's just a little bit high. Here we go. There we go. Now we have got our lashes on. Now, We got some nice shimmer and iridescent going on our eyelids. We are going to continue that on to the top of our cheek just a little bit. We are going to be using, this is the Juvia's Place. This is the Heroin Glow 2 from Juvia's Place. It's just a nice, kind of a rose gold, little bit of shimmer, not glittery, just shimmery. So we're going to use the Anastasia highlighter brush. We're just going to swirl that around right here on the top of the cheek, right here beside the eye socket. We're going to take that. We're also going to go down the center of the nose. I just love the way that looks on the nose. Oh, yay! How exciting! So we got, there you go. Use what you've got. So, and again, I'm going to go with Andrea. So you can correct me. Give me a pronunciation key down there. So excited to have you on here with us. And I'm glad that that is something that you can use with something you already have. And so a lot of people, you don't see green used often, but it's just a super pretty color. I really, really like it. Oh, yes. So if you want to send me a picture of what you got, any of the social media platforms, you can do that. You can attach a photo comment. So you can do that. If you're on Facebook with me, you can send me a private message if you don't want everybody else to see it. However you want. Okay, so I think also you can do a photo or video comment because I think you're on YouTube. So you can do a photo or a video comment as well. And I'd love to see what you did and how it turned out. Okay, so okay, so now I have to go to work after this. And so I don't want to mess with this. I do not want this to move all day. So I am going to take the Juvia's Place Ready, Set, Sealed. We're going to give that a shake. We're going to set that. There you go. And no, the answer is I am not supported by Juvia's Place, but when you find a good makeup line, it's just a good makeup line. That is why I use so much Juvia's products, because she just does a marvelous job with her products. All right. So thank you so much for hanging with me today. This has been a little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus. I look forward to chatting with you on social media. Let's see. When I woke up, oh, yay. Oh, and you know what? I didn't show you. So sorry. Okay. So I love greens and blues, and I have quite a few greens and blues tutorials on past episodes as well. So let's go ahead and review our Bible verses that we have had so far. Well, if it's going to let me. There we go. Okay, so week 1, we have I, James, am a slave of God and the Master Jesus, writing to the 12 tribes scattered to kingdom come. Hello! Week 2, we had, oh gosh, what is the first word there? Consider it a sheer gift, friends, when tests and challenges come at you from all sides. You know that under pressure, your faith life is forced into the open and shows its true colors. So don't try to get out of anything prematurely. Let it do its work so that you may become mature, well-developed, not deficient in any way. I love that song, and I was totally singing that inside of my head. Okay. Okay, if you don't know what you're doing, pray to the Father. He loves to help. You'll get his help, and you won't be condescended to when asking for it. Ask boldly, believingly, without a second thought. People who worry their prayers are like wind-whipped waves. Don't think you're going to get anything from the Master that way. Adrift at sea, keeping all your options open. And that's James 1:5-8. Wow, I actually did better on that one than I thought. Okay. When down and outers get a break. I'm totally singing this in my head. Okay, if you haven't heard this song, you've got to go hear this song. Selah did such a good job with this one. Okay, so when down and outers get a break, cheer. And when the arrogant rich are cut down to size, cheer. Prosperity is as short-lived as a wildflower, so don't ever count on it. You know that as soon as the sun rises, sending down its scorching heat, the flowers wilt. No, the flower fades and the petals wilt. And before you know it, hold on, I gotta take a peek. Before you know it, oh, that beautiful face is a barren stem. Well, that's a picture of the prosperous life. At the very moment that everyone is looking on in admiration, it fades away to nothing. Okay, I liked that story of that one. Okay, anyone who meets on a test, wait, hold on. Anyone who meets a testing challenge and, oh my gosh, I thought it was better at this. And anyone who meets a testing challenge head on and manages to stick it out is mighty fortunate. For such persons loyally in love with God, the reward is life and more life. Woo! Okay, and then we have our verse for this week and the graphic, because you haven't had a chance to see that yet. Woo woo! Here we go. Love this girl. Love the hair. So, don't let anyone under pressure to give in to evil say, God is trying to trip me up. God is impervious to evil and puts evil in no one's way. The temptation to give in to evil comes from us and only us. We have no one to blame but the leering, seducing flare-up of our own lust. Lust gets pregnant and it has a baby, sin. And sin grows up to adulthood and becomes a real killer. All right, so wow, lots of great verses there. So again, this is all coming from Color Me James. So if you don't already have your copy, go ahead and get that, because that is going to be, now there's lots of activities and things to do in there. So that is going to be totally cool. That said, a little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus.com. All three choices are there. That's the spiral bound, personal preference, the perfect bound from Amazon, and then the ebook version. So whichever one of those is going to make you the happiest, that's the one that you go with. So you can find a little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus on your favorite podcast platform. And just a reminder about the Beauty and Grace Insiders. So we've got the Divine Beauty, the Precious Jewel, and the Cherished Queen. The ebook, if that is your preference, the Cherished Queen comes with a free copy of the ebook. So it'd be to your benefit to just go ahead and do Cherished Queen, because you get that, plus you get all the other perks. And for those of you that are hanging out here with me on YouTube, you can see if you're in the Beauty and Grace Insider, you get those special emojis. You get that little badge. There is soon to be coming we'll do a weekly memorization trivia time together. So we needed to get a few more members in here to make that something that will be fun. So until we meet again next time, my friends, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift his countenance upon you and give you peace. Heavenly Father, how thankful I am for each one of the ladies that has come and hung out with me here live. For those who will watch this later on, Father, I am just so grateful for them. And I pray that you would bless them with the word today. I mean, the makeup is fun, and we know the outside beauty is great, but it's really all about the inside. And I just pray that you would bless them, that you would help them to be diligent in their efforts to memorize scripture this week, that scripture would be a part of our being, part of our hearts, part of our soul, and that we would have it ready, willing and able when we need it for ourselves, and then also for the encouragement, edification, and correction of others. Father, I just thank you so much for this group of women, and I pray that you would send us out with a special blessing this next week. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Well, it has been a delight to hang out with you. I look forward to seeing you online and your pictures of how your makeup look come out. So until next Thursday, goodbye. Love you. Mwah.